Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my people. How are you doing today? Today, I'm going with a topic which, to be fair, has come up a couple of times. What does your brother think about properties? Property development, the housing system. What do I think? I have to be honest, I'm not a big fan. And I'm going to tell you exactly why in this video. So before we get into it, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with your family and friends. I'm going to give you a different insight on what I think about properties. You see, the big billionaires, the big multi-millionaires, what do they say? They say that your money should be making money for you. And in essence, if you want to have a property and you want to have a property portfolio, or houses, bringing rent in, etc., really think about this. How much money do you make for the sort of money that you put in? So, if you buy a house, say, for £300,000, the rent you get in return, let's say on average, is £1,500. Now, on a £300,000 house, you're looking at £1,500 rent. That's 5% return. And in some places you can get more, but the maximum or the highest you're looking at is like 9 or 10%. So, in generic terms now, if you say that you get a house, £300,000, and it's a 3-bedroom house and you get £1,500 back, that's 5%. And if every single year that house goes up in value by 10%, that's £330,000. But to be fair, so has every other house gone up in value. And so in essence, when you sell your house and buy another house, the other house is obviously going to be worth more money as well, unless you obviously fix it up and do other things to it. So if you have a couple of houses, £300,000, let's say you end up, getting 2 houses on £300,000, and so you in essence have spent £600,000 on your portfolio of 2 properties. Your return, say you're making £3,000 a month, investing £600,000. And then you're obviously making a little money on top. You're, for example, making your 30 grand, your 50 grand, your 60 grand. But the other thing is you will only get that money when you sell your property. But if you sell your property, then you're not going to get your £1,500 a month coming in from the house. So what do I say? Well, I say, to be fair, what the millionaires and the billionaires, they say. Get a house, it's great. I mean, look, if you can afford it when you're wealthy and you can make a lot of money, I think it's something good to get into because it's a safe investment. You don't really get too much of a return, but the millionaires and the billionaires, they make more money on buying the house, fixing it up, and maybe reselling it. Now, if that's something you want to do, that's great. You genuinely can make a decent amount from fixing up a house, selling it on, buying another house, fixing it up, and selling it on. But if you're thinking you're going to get those buy-to-let mortgages, or if you're going to buy a house to put on rent and therefore you're going to make a killing doing that, then you need to rethink your plan, because making a killing buying a house and putting it on rent isn't really going to happen. And obviously speaking, and I've mentioned this in my other videos, which I will leave in the link below, of how to avoid a mortgage, because we as Muslims, we can't have a mortgage. And so the main thing is to avoid a mortgage, have halal investments, and make sure we're being extremely smart with our money. I, Abu Musa, your brother, I say invest that money first in yourself. The little money that you get, invest it in yourself. Learn skills that you would never have learned at university, college, school, and more. And then put it into a business. So for example, if you even have £10,000, start something for yourself where you're having like £1,000 coming in or £1,500 coming in. And listen, you know what my channel's about. I always give you guys business ideas, and trust me, I haven't even come close to giving you all the ideas. I will be giving you more and more ideas, so make sure to subscribe. But the point being is I would invest that money into a business which is gonna make me money. And not only that, it makes me money initially, but it also makes me money when I employ someone and make them do the work, because when they are doing the work and I don't have to do the work, guess what? That money also becomes passive. Now, it's not easy to start a business, but it's not difficult as much as people make it out either. See, saving £300,000 to buy a house is very hard. Very, very hard. So us as Muslims, we can't really have a mortgage. Well, we can't have a mortgage because it's haram, because of the riba. And so if it's not allowed and we can't have a mortgage, we have to save £300,000. If you save £1,000 every month, you're going to make 12,000, save £12,000. So after 10 years, you would have saved £120,000. So it could nearly take you 26, 27 years, and that's just quick maths in my brain right now. 26, 27 years to save £300,000. So imagine you start saving at 21, 22, 23, and you're saving because you want your own house. At 50, basically, you'll probably have your house. You're going to have your £300,000 house, which you can now put on rent, which, by the way, in 25, 28 years, it's not going to take £300,000. That house is going to be worth much more. And so, is it really worth it? In my opinion, it's not really worth it. Unless you're going to buy a house up Manchester or somewhere cheaper where you have the money and you're thinking, you know what, let me buy this house, I get it a bit cheaper, I fix it up and I'm going to sell it on. Fair enough. Definitely a business, definitely an idea, and you can make a killing in that. But don't think to yourself that you're going to make a killing buying a house and putting it on rent, because we can't have mortgages. And so if anyone says, yeah, well, look, I've made a killing of, renting out properties and buying properties and renting them out again, this channel is for the Muslims, where I have to give you advice based on permissibility and what is allowed and what isn't allowed. So I'm not here now saying you can't make money on renting a property. You probably can, but we can't have a mortgage. And so we can't use the example of bad debt in essence. And if we can't use bad debt, that means that really and truly that time that it takes to save so much money isn't really going to happen. So I hope that makes sense. And you guys have to understand, and I know this can sometimes get a bit tedious, and I want you to bear with me. Having a business is not easy, not by any means, but it's doable. You can employ people, you can grow it. If you start something which is scalable, you can scale it in a sense where you can have continuous money coming in. And the point being is, rather than putting in £50,000 into a house, me personally, I would rather put £50,000 into a business or an idea or something I believe in, grind as hard as I can for a few years. And so I know after 3-4 years, I don't really have to work anymore. And in essence, I will have £1,500 or £2,000 coming in every month from my business, and that's done. So to get a £1,500 return a month on a £50,000 flat is extremely difficult. But you could even get a £1,500 return on a £10,000 investment. I mean, you could even do that on a £3,000 or £4,000 investment. You know what? You could even do that if you invested £0. You could still have £1,500 coming in through a business. If it was a serviced business, it'd be even easier. Because a service business would be your time, you provide a service, and you charge your customers or your clients, and in return they pay you for it. So £1,500 coming from that is easy. And then, if you hire someone to do that same work, it now becomes passive. So the point being is, I'm all for it. I think property is good. If you're going to fix up a house, if you're going to sell it on, no problem. But for us Muslims, we can't have a mortgage. We can't use buy-to-let mortgages. We can't use mortgages. We can't use loans. And therefore, we can't buy houses to just put on rent. And so, think of it from an avenue which is more accessible and something which is easier to do. So, subscribe to the channel, like these videos, bear with me. Some mad content is going to be coming out. Trust me. I need you guys to bear with me. If you have any questions, hit me up on the gram. Inshallah, we've got some big stuff coming out, which maybe I'll share on the Instagram soon. But that is all from me today. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.